Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Sunshine Coast Regional District regular board meeting of Thursday, July 8th, 2021 at 2:02 p.m. here in the afternoon, and we'd like to thank you all for joining us today. I'd like to, before I call us to order, I would like to acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District operates and is throughout the territories, the traditional territories of the Sechelt and the Squamish First Nations, and we're very grateful to be here. So I'll call us to order, and we do have an amended agenda in front of us today with a couple of late items added in. Are there any additional items that we need to add to this amended agenda today? I'll look to directors and look to staff to see if we need to add in anything else. Seeing none, I will ask for a motion to adopt this amended agenda, please. So move Director Seegers, seconded Director McMahon. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. So as we begin, I'm going to ask for a motion to receive all of our minutes, our reports, communications, please. Thank you. Move Director McMahon, seconded Director Seegers. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. So the first item up here, we have our item number 2 on our agenda, Annex A, pages 1 through 10 of our package. And this is the regular board meeting minutes of June 24th, 2021. Do we have any errors, omissions, additions, subtractions to these minutes before we move adoption? Any changes that need to be done? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adopt these minutes, please. So move Director Seegers, seconded Director Toth. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, next up, is there any business arising from the minutes or unfinished business? Okay, there's no business then. We will move on to, we have no presentations and delegations either, but we do have a series of reports to get through. And the first one on our list is number 3, Annex B, pages 11 to 15 of our package. So directors, this is number 3, the Corporate and Administrative Services Committee recommendations, numbers 1, 2, 4, 6 to 11, 13 to 15th of June 24th, 2021. Before we adopt these as a block, would you like to pull out any of these for additional debate? Director McMahon.
Yes, I'd like to pull number 8.
Number 8, okay. So we've pulled number 8. Directors, any other recommendations from the CAS of June 24th that you would like to have removed and debate separately? Okay, seeing none, first off, we will I'll ask for a motion to adopt the Corporate and Administrative Services Committee recommendations of June 24th, 2021, with the exception of number 8. May I have that motion, please? So move Director Seegers, seconded Director Beamish. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Director McMahon, if number 8, if you'd like to speak to that, please.
Yeah, I have a little bit to say here, so be patient. At the June 24th meeting, I made a comment about lacking confidence in the SCRD's ability to manage capital projects, and I wanted to provide some context because it may have sounded like a vote of non-confidence in our management team, which was not my intention. We have a very capable senior leadership team and senior managers at the SCRD. It may even be the best team we've ever had. I appreciate staff's professionalism, thoroughness, can-do attitude, and their patience with directors when we sometimes miss items in report or go joyously chasing down rabbit holes. If I didn't have a high level of regard for our senior staff, I would not feel comfortable defending SCRD projects and decisions, which is something I do on a daily basis. But it was noted in our recent strategic plan review that 70% of the exempt staff at the SCRD are new since 2015. So they may not be aware of the history of poor project planning that has gone on before they got here. Taxpayers have very long memories, particularly when they are disgruntled about something. Shortly after I was elected, I was taken to task for the SCRD's decision to name Area E Elphinstone instead of Gower Point, a decision I think was taken in the 1960s. If that was still top of mind for a resident, you can only imagine how daisy fresh in people's minds are the building of the Gibson's Library in 1996 or the Recreation Center and the Seashell Pool around 2007. I also made my comment in the light of just a couple of weeks ago, we received an estimate of $708,000 to replace a sprinkler system that was supposed to last 30 years and didn't even make it for 15 years for a pool that has had one costly capital repair after another since the day its doors opened. It's an aquatic lemon. The SCRD has made a number of critical mistakes when building public facilities. What's much worse from my point of view, because mistakes will happen, is that we've never acknowledged those mistakes. If we don't identify our mistakes and take steps to prevent them happening again, how do residents and taxpayers have any assurance that we're going to get it right this time? There are quite a few parallels between the Cooper's Green project and the construction of the recreation facilities back around 2006-07. The projects are driven by community desire, not really operational necessities, and there's a lot of pressure to get a move on with them. We are in a building boom where costs are inflating and reputable local contractors are hard to get. With the recreation center and incidentally with the library as well, the SCRD was faced with rising costs and decided not to increase the budget, so cost differences were made up by cutting things out of the project. Was that the best possible decision in terms of long-term value to the taxpayer? Perhaps not. And we may face those kind of decisions again. The Auditor General for Local Government released a report on capital project budgeting in local government earlier this year, which I read with keen attention. It lists 20 pitfalls that local governments often stumble into on capital projects, many of which the SCRD has run afoul of in the past. And there is a recommendation for elected officials about what we should be looking for in approving projects and what information we should get as the project rolls out. So I'm going to be watching these and I'm going to be raising them. One of our key roles as elected officials is oversight. The community expects that we are watching to make sure that tax dollars are being responsibly spent and delivering the best possible value. I do have a lot of confidence in our staff, but I'm not going to say to my constituents, just trust us. Capital projects should not rely on faith. They should be grounded in solid policies and procedures. And so I want to make sure that that's in place every step of the way. That said, I'm still opposed to Cooper's Green. So just wanted to tell you that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Director McMahon. I'm just going to ask the corporate officer for confirmation on voting with recommendation number 8, because when we were at committee, it was electoral area directors only. And so I just wanted to confirm that now we're here at board, what the voting will be.
Thank you, Chair. So depending on how you choose to proceed, the voting on the operation and administration of the service is relevant to the electoral areas only. If the board decides to divide the resolution and pull out the financial aspect of the contract, then we would have a full board weighted vote. So we could divide the resolution, or you could choose to vote on it all directors one vote each, which is the default regional district voting.
Okay, so is everyone clear on that? No. Okay, Director Seekers, I saw shaking the head. Okay, so right now we have one full recommendation, recommendation number 8, and if we choose to pull out the funding piece of that, the funding only would be voted on by the electoral area directors, correct, Corporate Officer?
The funding piece would be voted on by all directors, and it would be
Okay.
a weighted vote.
Okay, but if we're just doing the recommendation as a whole without pulling it apart, so let's start there because that's the simplest. If we're doing the recommendation as a whole, is it a full corporate vote or is it just electoral area directors?
So the recommendation as a whole, as it is in the minutes, would be all directors, 1 vote each.
Okay. All right, so we have recommendation number 8 in front of us. I'm going to look to the directors on how you'd wish to proceed on this. Director Seekers?
To the corporate officer. So if I'm clear as to what you said, if it's we pulled it from to be voted on separately, and you're saying that is not just electoral area directors, it is all directors that would vote on this at this point then?
Correct, unless you decide, you have the option to divide the resolution. So essentially, you're voting on different parts of it. There would be 2 votes, depending on which part you're voting on.
Okay.
So if I were to separate out the financial aspects with the contract, which is the 3rd clause, and that the value of the contract, and the delegated authorities, and then on page 14, bringing forward the budget proposal, those pieces would be all directors, it would be a weighted vote. The first clause regarding how the replacement project proceed would be administration and operation of a service, which would be participants only, which are the rural areas.
Okay, so we will start off here with, I'm going to see first if there is a mover who would like to adopt recommendation number 8, and we'll see if we can get that on the floor first, or if we're going to be dividing and conquering. So do I have any one of the directors who would like to move recommendation number 8 as a whole? I see Director Toth, and do I have a seconder? Seconded, Director Hiltz. Thank you. So we have recommendation number 8 in its entirety on the floor. Is there any further debate or discussion on this item? Director Seekers?
So just to be clear, this is all directors and it's a weighted vote?
If we're considering the recommendation in its entirety, it would be all directors, 1 vote each.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are considering the entire recommendation in its entirety. And to be clear, it is all directors voting on this, 1 vote each. And I see no further hands up for further discussion, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of recommendation number 8, please raise your hands. Those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Okay, I have Director McMahon and Director Ties opposed. Would you like that recorded? Yes, please. Okay. Thank you very much. So recommendation number 8 carries. And thank you for that. And it's always great to have a little bit of a refresher on corporate voting structure. So thank you, Corporate Officer. So moving on, our next report is the Infrastructure Services Committee recommendations numbers 1, 2, and 3 of earlier today. This is page 15A and B of your amended agenda package. Directors, before we adopt these recommendations as a block, would you like to debate any of them separately? Seeing none, may I ask for a motion to adopt the Infrastructure Services Committee recommendations of earlier today, please? So move Director Seegers, seconded Director McMahon. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Next up, we have number 4. This is also on your amended agenda package, number 15C through D. And this is the alternative approval process results, water meter installations project authorization bylaw, number 730-2021. And this is over to our corporate officer, please.
Thank you, Chair. The alternative approval process to seek elector approval for long-term borrowing in the amount of $7.25 million to fund the final phase of water meter installations in the Seashelt area has concluded, and the results are provided in the report before you. Elector approval has been obtained since less than 10% of the eligible electors in the service area submitted forms to oppose the borrowing. The board may now proceed with adoption of the water meter installations project loan authorization bylaw, which has been brought forward to this agenda under item number 9. I'm prepared to answer any questions should you have them.
Great. Thank you, corporate officer. And I know it just closed yesterday, so thank you for getting this information to us for today. So I see a question from Director Seegers.
Thank you. To our corporate officer, what is the next step?
So the next step would be for the board to consider adoption of the bylaw. Should the board go forward and adopt the bylaw, there would be a 30-day quashing period. And at the end of that quashing period, I would apply to the province for a certificate of approval. And once we receive that from the province, we may proceed with borrowing.
Okay. Are there any further questions for the corporate officer before we continue on through our agenda? Nope. Okay, not seeing any. I will thank you very much, corporate officer. The next item up on our agenda is communications, and this is from Captain Stephen Achterberg of the Seashelt Fire Department and Muscular Dystrophy Chair, Sunshine Coast. And this is Annex C, pages 16 to 30 of our package. And we do have Captain Achterberg in our audience if there are any questions on this. So we'll maybe if IT, if you could let the captain in, and we can. I will look to directors to see if you have any questions or comments on this this request. And Stephen, if you're within, if you'd like to unmute yourself, and you can certainly, I'd be happy to give you a few minutes if you'd like to speak to your request here.
Great, thank you for taking the time to accept my proposal, or at least review it. So basically, I'm trying to run a fundraiser where we're going to just take all the fire halls and try to run a relay from ferry to ferry, raising money for muscular dystrophy. So I'm coming to you at the SCRD just to get your permissions for us to be able to go through your land and spaces. I won't be taking up any of your park or public spaces, just using the highway, basically Highway 101, and then Lower Road and Lagoon Road. Oh, and Red Roofs.
Okay. Thank you, Captain. Directors, any questions or comments? Looking. Okay, we'll start with Director Hiltz, please.
Thanks. Great project you got going on. My question is, does the regional district even give permission? Like, how do you know if this is we have a permit to say, it seems to be more MODI than a regional district, so I'm not sure if permission is what we do here. I'm not sure about it.
Okay, that's great, Director Hiltz. That was kind of where I was going to. I'm not sure. I'd look over to staff, either maybe the CAO or corporate officer might have some guidance on this.
Oh, I can. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Or Stephen, did you want to speak to that first?
If I may, maybe permission's the wrong word. I did speak with Jennifer Hill about this, and she said maybe a letter of support from the SCRD would be more adequate.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not really a permission issue. It's more of a support issue, and also from a staff perspective, ensuring that we are aware and can make any plans necessary around public transportation routes, those types of things.
Okay. Thank you, CAO. Director McMahon?
Yeah, this sounds like a good fundraising event. I trust everybody will take all the appropriate safety precautions because we don't really want our volunteer firefighters mowed down on the highway. It would not work out well for everybody. But yeah, I'm happy. Do we need a motion to send a letter of support?
From listening, I believe that would probably be appropriate in this situation, unless any of the directors feel that they need a cooling off period to think about this. I'd certainly be happy to entertain that motion, Director McMahon.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
All right. And I see a couple of seconders. Any further discussion on this item? Any further questions for Captain Achterberg? Oh, Director Hiltz?
The motion. I just had a question about the insurance requirement from Modi. It's saying $2 million. I'm not familiar with running events with Modi. So could you tell me what Modi is asking for in terms of insurance? Like, how are they trying to get you to insure yourselves?
Great question. So Modi is trying, I guess they want to cover themselves for third-party liability. So I'll be seeking a separate or an event insurance policy for $3 million just on the event. Would the SCRD like to be named on the policy?
I would think that's going to be an operational question for our CAO.
I'd have to look into that.
Okay. So we'll leave that question to staff for the time being, Captain, because that's operational, and they'll let us know if we should have a board motion on that following. But but thank you for bringing that question. We'll make sure if you can follow up with staff, that would be great.
Okay, will do.
Okay, so we have the motion on the floor, and if I could call the question on the motion to provide a letter of support. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries.
Fantastic. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Well, thank you, and good luck with your event, and thank you for doing that, and be safe.
Will do. Thank you so
right.
much. Have a good
All
day.
right, you too.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so moving on, next item on our agenda, on our amended agenda, is we have a motion that the resignation of Dugald McDonald from the Elphinstone Area E Advisory Planning Commission be received. I'll go over to Director McMahon.
Yes, I'd like to move that and express my thanks to Dugald, who's been a longtime member of our APC and a big community supporter.
Okay. And so I see that moved by Director McMahon, and a seconder, please. Seconded. Thank you, Director Seegers. And our typical policy, of course, is that I believe I'll look to the corporate officer that a letter of gratitude is typically sent to the volunteer if they step down.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, that's correct.
So we don't need an additional amendment for that. So that's good. So I will call the question on that. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Next up, number 7 on the agenda is another motion. And this is that the resignation of Jesse Bowen from the Water Supply Advisory Committee be received in accordance with Section 4.8 of the Water Supply Advisory Committee's Terms of Reference. Members who are absent for 4 consecutive bi-monthly meetings will be deemed to have resigned their position unless the absence is because of illness or injury or is with the leave of the SCRD board. So may I ask for a mover for that, please? So moved Director Seegers and seconded by Director Toth. Any further discussion on this item? Director Hiltz?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I was just wondering, these are infrequent occurrences. So I just wonder what is the procedure for reaching out to people, and I'm not familiar with it. To establish that their absence is not legitimate, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. In this case, we reached out to this member several times to make him additionally aware of meetings and the fact that the four times by monthly meetings would be absent would be coming up. So he was aware of this.
Okay.
And if I may, the committee is, if this resignation is supported by the board, is down 2 committee members, and staff are proposing to start opening up an application process to add the 2 vacant, the 2 then vacant positions.
So GM Rosenboom, would you like an additional motion after that for that to happen, or is that necessary?
It would be preferred. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so first off, because we have the motion on the floor, I'm going to call the question on the resignation. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. And next up, I'll ask for a motion that staff start an application process for the Water Supply Advisory Committee. Is that sufficient, GM? Okay. So if Director Seegers? Okay.
Move that.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder? Director McMahon. Recording Secretary Hill, do you have that?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay. Director Toth.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question for staff. Do we have particular water systems that we're looking to recruit for these 2 vacancies? Are they both Chapman or open to whoever?
Thank you for the question. In principle, they're open for everybody that would like to apply. We currently are lacking a representative from the Eastbourne system, and the other vacant to be vacant position or currently vacant position is used to be by somebody from the Chapman system, but could be filled by anybody. And once the applications are received, we'll assess which systems there are and recommend filling those to the board so that all systems are represented in the committee. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, GM. Are there any further questions or discussion on this item? Okay, so I'm going to call the question on staff starting an application process for WASAC. I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. So next up, we have bylaws. We have number 8, and this is Annex D, pages 31 through 33 of our package. And it is the Sunshine Coast Regional District Sanitary Landfill Site Amendment Bylaw number 405.24 2021. And we are looking for adoption at this time. So may I have a motion for adoption of Sunshine Coast Regional District Sanitary Landfill Site Amendment Bylaw number 405.24 2021? So moved, Director Beamish, seconded by Director McMahon. Thank you. Any further discussion on this item? Director Hiltz.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I was looking at the bylaw and the tires, and I was thinking tires per tire, and there was a per ton rating there. So is there any limit to the number of tires that someone can drop off at the landfill? I never even thought of that. Is there a limit?
Okay. GM Rosenboom?
Thank you for the question. No, the answer is no.
Thank you, GM. Okay. Any further discussion or questions on this item? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor of adoption of this bylaw, please? Thank you. Those opposed? Director Toth, would you like that recorded? Yes, he would. Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, next up, Annex E. Number 9 on your agenda package, and this is on the amended agenda package, is the Water Meter Installations Project Loan Authorization Bylaw number 730-2021. And we are looking for adoption at this meeting. And once again, this is a weighted vote, as was the last one as well. And the voting weight is there in front of you. So I will ask for a motion to adopt Water Meter Installations Project Loan Authorization Bylaw number 730-2021. So moved, Director Ties, seconded, Director Seegers. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? None opposed? So that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. The next one we have is our director's reports, and we will go with the lineup of volunteer. So who would like to go first? Director Ties.
Yeah, I'll make it short. Thank you to the RCMP, Don Newman, and also to staff for listening to some of the concerns that have been raised around some of the behavior down at Roberts Creek Pier. And there's some mental health, addiction, as well as campfire issues down there that the RCMP is stepping enforcement up on. And so thank you for that. And I think that's it for me for now.
Okay. Thank you, Director Ties. Up next, I have Director Beamish, and I'm always looking for somebody on deck to come up next.
A couple things this week. Thank you. It's in the paper today. I noticed a report on the Gospel Rock project, 2 items, but the one item that I think is very topical is the Gower Point Road section that goes through. And just for council, for Area E, Donna was actually at the meeting as well. Council did approve the project as presented by our Director of Infrastructure with a view to enabling the project planning to proceed. And with her request that they bring back alternatives to the road treatment in September. A number of issues were raised relative to it, including leaving it just the way it is, because it's obviously a very complex and issue. So just be aware that the developer does have the authority to continue to work on the project, not being held up by the road. But it's probably 2 years down the way before anything is done on the road. In the meantime, the town may come up with other concepts and other ideas to be implemented down there, including the stoplights at either end and different things that were proposed. So it's not an easy issue because those Area E residents want to rush through Gibson's to get to ferry, and rush through Gibson's to get home from the ferry. But then we also have the other uses on those roads. So we'll be taking a look at that. There's a special meeting of council this month just to try to fit everything in. So next Wednesday, the 13th at 3 o'clock, there'll be a special meeting of council. There'll be a full agenda on that. That's a regular agenda. And music in the landing is going to begin in Gibson's. We had some volunteers come out to the woodwork saying they wanted to see it going. So as of July 17th, music in the landing will be back in Wine Park with buskers down at Pioneer Square. It's not going to be as full a program as we've had in the past, but it will be every weekend between now and September, and with extra music on the BC Day rather. So we'll be looking forward to that happening. A piece of correspondence that I shared with the chair and the CAO from the ADM of Environmental Protection for Ministry of Environment. And this concerns a report that appeared in the latest edition of the Coast Clarion, not the latest edition, but an earlier edition regarding the blacktop storage site up on Gilmore Road. Thanks to what one could call citizen scientists or observant hikers who walked through the property. They reported their observations relative to how that blacktop was being not only stored but spread on the property and potentially buried on the property. So an article was written by the Coast Clarion. I very quickly followed up with the ministry, explaining also to people who have asked that the town doesn't have the jurisdiction to wander through private lands in the rural area, or in fact in the town, looking for things. Would be very specifically requirements under bylaw enforcement or with a search warrant. But we appreciate when people do see things that are out of the ordinary, then bring them forward, whether they be on private land or public land. So in this case, it's on private land. As people wander through and they're hiking, come across something that doesn't seem right, they brought it to attention, which we appreciate. I sent a very strongly worded letter to the ministry saying that if they were going to come and investigate, they'd responded to the Coast Clarion article saying they were coming. I said, that's great. If you're coming, I'd like to have a full report of the results of your investigation, because this is, of course, on top of our aquifer area. And some of the observations were not only the spreading of the asphalt, but also standing water, colored water, and bubbling water, percolating water, and which obviously raises a lot of concerns for those of us who rely on that as a drinking water source, which will be including for Church Road. So the ministry, the deputy minister has written back. It will be on our agenda on the 13th, or the 17th rather. We'll be discussing another further response, acknowledgement to their letter. Basically, what they say is that, and I'll be a little bit more specific than basically, they say, I'm going to quote from the letter. The ministry is currently planning a number of inspections throughout the Sunshine Coast in July, including an inspection of the facility noted in your email. Our specific interest in this property is to ascertain if any landfill of waste is occurring. The disposal of asphalt waste via landfilling requires a permit under the Ministry Environmental Management Act. This activity is not currently permitted at this location. Upon completion of our inspection, the results will be posted to the public-facing Natural Resource Compliance and Enforcement Database. I will still be asking that upon completion of the investigation that a report be provided to the town of Gibsons, and I'll suggest also to the Sunshine Coast Regional District, because it's a very specific activity and we shouldn't have to go and search for the information, wondering when it's going to be reported on. So that we will have more to say about that at our meeting next week. As I say, I copied my comments. I copied this letter to the regional district, and I think we should all be in agreement that kind of activity where it threatens potentially the aquifer should not be allowed to continue and needs to be appropriately remediated if there is a problem. The other thing we have going through our system right now is a community amenity policy update, and we had discussion of that last week. We will be going to the community to ask for their kind of input on where they would like to see community amenity funds spent and at what kind of percentage of the dollars received on that. So if you're interested in community amenities, we have a current policy that is being reviewed and will probably be adopted in September with councils. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Beamish. Next up, I have Director Hiltz, then Lee, and then McMahon. So, Director Hiltz.
Thanks, Chair. Just one thing, I just wanted to thank staff for organizing the governance workshop that we had earlier in the week. Found it a really useful refresher and provides a lot of focus for me as an individual to figure out how to do my job better. So thank you for that opportunity. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Director Hiltz. Next up, Director Lee, and then McMahon.
I liked Director Hilt's report. It was short and to the point. I attended the Loon Foundation AGM. I found it quite interesting. I discovered that they'd scaled their plans back to those 3 main buildings only. So no underground parking behind the 3 main buildings that you'd see from the water. So I believe it's a phase 1 and a phase 2 approach now, which I thought was quite appropriate. Do a little bit at a time. I did find out they weren't very happy about the tower at the driveway, the TELUS cell tower. It was kind of mentioned directly to me a couple times. They're actually asking TELUS to see if they can find another site that's not there. See how that goes. I attended the Area A APC. There was lots of discussions about approval of minutes. And the talk about the problem is that they're published at our P&CD before they're actually presented back to the APC to ensure accuracy. And so they were talking about how to get corrections presented back to us. I suggested they just make corrections in the next set of minutes, but that didn't seem to satisfy them. So I'm not sure where they're going to go with that. Looking forward to seeing how they resolve it. And finally, there's lots of activity around our local lakes, and I found myself really enjoying seeing the families and the young people on the side of the lake, basically impromptu parties and very well respectful. And I got thinking how fortunate we are here for the wonders that nature offers us, all those free things like that. And then I got thinking about how the public lands are made available in BC for everyone to enjoy. And I thought that's pretty darn cool that you can have this kind of thing around here on the coast. So it made me happy. Anyways, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Lee. Up next, Director McMahon, and then Director Toth.
Hey. Nobody's mentioned our heat wave. I gotta say that was quite the experience because, like most people, my home is not designed to deal with that kind of heat. And I think it raised a lot of questions for all of us about how we respond in an emergency and how we communicate out, especially to populations that may be vulnerable. I think a lot of people really suffered in this heat wave, and we weren't, I sure wasn't prepared. I don't think most people were, but it will happen again at some point. So we do need to be prepared for this. And I picked up a whole lot of tips on how to keep cool in hot weather, but I'm in the market for tips, cheap tips on how to heat proof my house in an emergency. I had tarps draped all over the west side of the house, which made some difference, but really the roof was the issue. Anyway, I did not attend the Canada Day March in Sechelt, but I am going to leave it to the Sechelt people to comment on that. That was quite the event, and I was very, very impressed. The themes that have been coming at me lately are all these issues that we have that are basically cross-jurisdictional. And the Modi property with the asphalt is a good example. It's at the top of Gilmore Road, right on the boundary between Area E and Area F, and above Gibson's, but it affects potentially all of us. So I appreciate the town taking a lead on that. But we have a lot of transportation issues also that are either sort of cross-jurisdictional or aren't really in our jurisdiction, but we have to live with them, with Modi. The Gower Point Road has been of considerable interest in my area because, as we all know, town of Gibson's residents rush through Area E to get to Bonnie Brook Beach to light their beach fires, creating a lot of traffic in my area. I'll be working with the town and with Modi and with SCRD staff on what we can do about the transition zone at the end of the road, because the boundary between the town and Area E is not in a sensible, logical place. It's in the middle of a hill just past a blind corner. And, we need a plan to deal with the rest of the road. So that will be interesting. And I just wanted to remind everybody, I attended the Electoral Areas Directors Forum on June 28th, and I'd like to encourage the rural directors to sign up on Discord and take part in exchanges of information on rural issues. I'm happy to send information if anybody needs it. Thanks.
Terrific. Thank you, Director McMahon. Up next, Director Toth, and then Director Seegers.
Thank you, Chair. Sounds like that Gower Point Road project might be the end of the good relations between our local governments here, so it'll be interesting to see how that develops. I attended part of the July 1st event at the Seashell Nation offices with my family. Unfortunately, it ran later than we expected it to, so we had to go to work and miss the actual walk part itself. But amazing. It was amazing to see how many people were gathered in that parking lot. And I know that Director Seegers participated, so hopefully she'll have more to share there. Substantial completion of the Seashell Aerodrome runway project has been achieved, and it is open again to flight traffic. Council voted last night to move forward with an option for new medium intensity runway lighting with a total project cost of around $600,000. And so that's going to be made up partly from coming in under budget, which is a rarity in municipal infrastructure projects, a little bit of COVID money, and also some gas tax community works funds, since the federal government did the doubling again this year. We also passed a motion prohibiting drag racing on the new runway until the 1-year warranty period is up on the asphalt. We are committed to a conversation with the Drag Racing Association about how we can move forward with them in the future, whether it's on the runway, maybe they do some remediation work properly, maybe they're contributing to a fund, maybe we help them develop a facility elsewhere. We don't know that yet, but our staff are gathering some information for us, and then we're going to have a get together with them. And then the last thing, I think, the council strategic plan review is next week, and we're actually going to be doing it mostly in person. So we'll have the opportunity to see each other again, finally, and meet some of our new staff face to face. It's, I haven't been in the community room since probably June last year when I was picking up some agendas for a member of the community. So I don't even know what the place looks like. Maybe they've repainted it. That's really all I've got to report. Thank you.
Thanks, Director Toth. And Director Seegers, please.
Thank you. A couple of things. I think we all have been taking part in planning for ministerial meetings for United BC Municipalities Conference in the fall. There's been a lot of communication back and forth between the local governments so that we can go forward again with our unified voice. Vancouver Coastal Health meetings have backed off to now being every 2 weeks rather than every week. And I have a feeling that very shortly they're going to back off even further. The leaders meeting, so between the MLA, MP, and the local like chairs, mayors, etc., chief, they've stopped for July and August, so we won't be having those meetings until starting up in September. I attended the Weeds grand reopening and got a tour of the facility. Not something I'm familiar with, and so it was quite interesting for me. Terms I've never heard before, so it was a lot of fun anyway. Met the owners, and they have a number of facilities in a number, like down in Lower Mainland and up here, very much committed to supporting the community. Canada Healthy Community Initiatives grants went in on June 25th. They went in. Fastest turnaround, August 13th. We should be notified about that. So we will know within the next 3 weeks or so whether or not we were actually successful. The one application that the District of Sechelt sponsored was the gathering space out in front of Municipal Hall. Then next week we should know about the application that the town of Gibson's put in and the District of Sechelt put in with regards to the homelessness coordinator and the RCMP staff member, because that was a 90-day turnaround. So we should hear about that in the next week or so. Summer music series has started in Sechelt. That's every Saturday, noon and 1 o'clock out in front of the Municipal Hall and the library. Open to the public, free to attend. Good turnout this last time. There is a layout of who's going to be presenting or playing, so check it out. Come see your favorites. And then I wanted to talk about Canada Day. It was a very unique experience, and I have to say we pulled that together in 2 days. And in 2 days, the community responded. We had over 1,000 people there. I would say it was closer to 1,500 if you looked around and tried to count. And I don't think the Sechelt Nation expected the level of support that they were shown by the Sunshine Coast. And I shared with Councillor Corey August and the Chief Paul that my favorite memory of the event was Councillor Corey August standing on top of the rocks at the end at Snicket Park, looking back over the long line of people in orange shirts and just grinning from ear to ear. And the community on the Sunshine Coast was so appreciative of being able to actually stand with the Sechelt Nation and say, you know, we hear you, we support you, we recognize what's happened in the past, and we're looking to move with you together to the future. So it was a very moving event, and I think is a starting point for further work and further collaboration going forward. So I just want to say thank you to, you know, everybody who attended. I mean, I know there were some from the board here, some from Gibson's. There were people from Langdale to Egmont at that event. So thank you. Thank you for coming. I can't imagine how many people would have shown up if we actually had been able to plan it for a longer period of time. I'm sure we would have, you know, just taken over the whole area. So that's all I have to say. Thank you all. That's it.
Thanks, Director Seegers. I will finish up with director's reports. Just a couple of quick things to report on because I think everything else has been touched on. Actually, only one thing that has not been touched on, which is the Half Moon Bay Community Association Town Hall, which was June 28th, where they put their director on the hot seat, and we had a great 2-hour-long conversation on questions and concerns relating to the community. So it's a very engaged group. We had, I think about 30 online live for the event, as well as it was live streamed on Facebook and held there as well. So for anyone that's interested, it's on the Half Moon Bay, Everything Half Moon Bay Facebook page, or I believe it's also available for watching off of the Half Moon Bay Community Association website. Otherwise, just big thanks to everyone for getting, doing all the work and getting everyone through the heat wave, and all of the work that you're doing to keeping everything going as can be difficult. And it's so great to see some semblance to normal, as we've got boardroom open here again, which is great, and with our lone Sherry in the corner. But at some point, it'll be good to see how we progress back in there. But especially being able to welcome welcome the public in more as we're able to reopen. So, Director Seegers, I saw your hand go up and then you took it down. Was there anything you wanted to speak to before we move on?
I think you covered it. I mean, I just wanted to say thank you to staff for how they came together across the coast to provide, water and cooling stations, et cetera, for the community. Very quick response, and while we may not have had a lot of take up, it did make a difference for a number of people. So thank you for being on that.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, mobilizing very quickly. So thank you so much to everyone who was able to do that. And whether you be an elected going down and refilling water, or staff making sure that a facility is open as a cooling station, that's, it's well needed. So with that, I see no new business today. We do have a session in camera. So first thing we will do is we'll make the motion to go in camera, and then we will go to our audience to see if we have any questions, and then we'll move to in camera. So the motion to be in camera today is that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with section 90, 1A, F, I, J, K, and 2B of the Community Charter. So may I have that motion, Director Seegers, seconded by Director McMahon. And all those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. And so looking to our attendee list, we have, it looks like Donna's number. If I'm just going to let you. So Donna, I've moved you in here. If you'd like to speak, please unmute, and you're welcome to ask us any questions or make any comments.
Okay, so it's a pleasure to be able to get back, and I'm actually looking forward to getting the mug shots by going out to the RD facility out there, and going in and sitting there and watching a movie of you guys live. Which would be kind of fun. I'm going to do that next month if I can get it together. But the one thing that I did want to ask, and I think I don't want to be disturbing a lot of what at this point, but I would like to ask Director Toth about his comment about the relations between our local governments in terms of the Gower Point Road. I'm wondering if maybe there would be a way for I think between Donna and Gibson's, we should be able to find a way to work with that issue without a problem. But I'm just curious, what did you think of why did you say that, Alton?
Oh, I'm just poking fun at them. Okay. We've been very fortunate in that so far in this term, we haven't had a lot of contentious issues that really sort of, pit one area against another or one municipality against the regional district. So, part of me in the back of my brain's like, when is it going to start falling apart? When are we going to all evolve into like frothing animals and getting on each other's cases about things?
Hey, well, I'm sure glad that you were saying it in that tone, because deep down in my heart, if I was talking to a colleague or a comrade, I'd be saying, I wonder who's going to start having a fit over this now. And so, so I just thought maybe you were worried about it, but I guess.
No, not at all. No. Not at all.
Okay.
No. Well,
thank you.
And hence, Donna, the comments about Area E racing through Gibson's and Gibson's racing through Area E is, I think they're finding a way through it, and there's, so I think we're okay right now. If we see Donna and Bill having an arm wrestle in the parking lot later, when we can, everybody's doubly vaccinated and they can not be physically distant.
You know what, though? I mean, it isn't even a matter of Area E and Gibson's. It's a matter of people who don't give a damn and people who do. And the racing stuff, I mean, that's just that entitlement attitude that a lot of us need to, if we've got it, we need to get rid of it. So.
Yes. Thank you. Director McMahon, I saw you unmute yourself. Did you wish to comment as well? Or Director Beamish?
All I can say is that anybody from Elphinstone is very welcome to come into Gibson's, provided they are doubly vaccinated and have proof.
Right, and I was just going to mention that there's no truth to the rumor that there will be barricades put up at the town boundary, so.
Well, you know what? I'd like to see a barricade put up between on Glassford Road, and never mind that funny little weird thing at there that kind of butts into the road on next to Franklin, and build something there. What the heck?
Thank you, Donna. Donna, it is such a pleasure to have you back in our have you back in our environment, even though it's only virtually at this time. I'm thrilled that we were able to have you here. I'm actually quite touched that you've made it today. Sorry, I'm going to cry. I'm just so happy to have you back. So
and I'm so
thank you.
happy, and I'm so desperate to be there that I've actually started to learn how to use technology, which I promised myself it would not strain my brain. I got enough on my mind. But I'm at the point now where I'm actually prepared to go to the library and get them to show me how to get Google.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, let us know if any one of us can help you as well. We're more than happy to help you keep up to date with what we're doing.
Thank you. And I've made a stack of notes. That's why I love coming to the meetings, and because I can get to have my paper copy and go over it and come back and pester people sometimes years later.
Excellent. I love it. Okay, well, thank you so much. We're going to move you out of the meeting now because we have to do that in-camera piece, but thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Donna. Oh, I'm seriously crying. This is just... Anyways, does everyone need like 2 minutes to secure their space? And Thank you, and welcome back to your regularly scheduled Sunshine Coast Regional District Board meeting of July 8th, 2021. If you're still with us, thank you so much for continuing to be with us. And you're here just in time for us to adjourn. May I have a motion to adjourn, please? So moved, Director Ties, seconded, Director Seegers. All those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. And thank you all. Have a great day. Have any other questions come in from the audience in our during the meeting? No questions received. All right. Okay, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. We got you done there just in time, Andreas. So it's always good. Good to see everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your time and commitment. And we'll see you soon. Bye.